bottom tier. Michael, grab your first team. Who would you put in It'd Be a Real Shame?
I've written down, this is obviously not my list, so I'd have to, like I said, make some tough decisions. The only team I have here is Crystal Palace.
You got Palace.
So I'm going to need your help to put some more teams there.
All right, why is Palace not in OKC while I think who else I'd put in there?
Because they're 2 points clear of Nottingham Forest, and Nottingham Forest are just worse than them. But other than that, I couldn't. Again, I think they're Crystal Palace right now. The problem is they look really bad right now, like a point from the last 5, right? That's terrible. They got you guys next, so not going to win that one, more than likely. They're going to get some wins that they're going to beat like West Ham. They're going to beat like Fulham, probably. They'll beat Brentford one game, and those will be games that, a draw would be good. They're going to get a win, and they're going to stay up. They're going to always be in that 12, 13, 14. But right now, they look like they're also lucky that there's three worse teams, but I just kind of know their history and that they're not going to be there. So that's where I'm like, it'd be a shame if they went down, because that's not where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I think Palace is a more talented version of Burnley right now. They need an exorcism. And that exorcism is Hodgson. He needs to go. Love him. I love company too. But I think it's just like they need rejuvenated and renewed exuberance in the managerial position there. I think that the problem is most of the teams that we would put in here at the moment are on a heater, and they're becoming like a darling for the pod, essentially. I'm going to buck that trend, because I do think there's one other team that needs to go in there circumstantially. I think Fulham are in It's a Real Shame. I know they've scored 10 goals in the past 2 games. I know they've scored 15 goals in the past 4. I've also seen this team at the beginning of the year be 16. I've seen this team be real bad at the beginning of the year, dude. Like real bad. And form is temporary. Class and talent are kind of forever in this still thing. I do think that they are going to start falling back from 10 that they're at right now to 13, 14. I think it'd be a real shame, because they're not going to go down, but they're in that tier. How do you feel about that?
So I kind of, it's really tough, because I kind of agree. Like they're literally in 10th. It just makes no sense. Especially what we've been seeing early on. And then also like back to, form currently, like you want to put Fulham up because they're, crushing it right now. But then Palace you want to put down because they're so bad. They haven't, Eze's only played not in 9 games. Elise's been hurt. Like those are easily their 2 best players. Andre Ayew, right? Is it Andre or Jordan? I always forget who is who. I think. Yeah, you're right. Jordan Ayew. Jordan Ayew has been, when Palace are doing well, he's a great asset. When they're not doing well, they need to get rid of him. He's just kind of like so Palace that it's crazy. So I do kind of agree. Like Fulham, I think we don't need to, we shouldn't be mesmerized right now that they're absolutely crushing it. Like good for them. They're in a great spot and they're safe as well. But I think that there's still some cracks in the armor there.
Yeah. So I'm going to put I feel like Fulham should be, it'd be a real shame.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down with that.
All right. I got one other one.
Okay. I might have another one too.
It's just because of circumstance. I actually think they should be in. It doesn't really matter. But when you lose 10 points for no reason other than FFP and not because of form, like you gotta be there. You're in 17th place. It's Everton. The talent on the field it doesn't really matter. The circumstance that they're in is, it'd be a real shame.
All right. We're going to have our first disagreement.
Okay.
Because I think this is the most, it doesn't really matter Everton season ever. In the fact that because they've been deducted 10 points, probably not going to be 10 at the end of the day when they appeal it, which I think they're going to now, because like they're so incredibly safe. Doesn't matter. I think I think no matter if they would have got relegated this season, I think it would have been a shame for sure as somebody who relegated them preseason. And I just think like anywhere that they finish above relegation is like a great season. So I just think the season doesn't matter as long as they don't get relegated, and they're not going to get relegated. This is like the first in however many years how bad it's been. This is the first uptick where like, fuck yeah, Everton. Like if you're an Everton fan, you're like, we're rocking right now and we look good. And I think that unlike Fulham and unlike Crystal Palace, there have been signs of this throughout the entire season. And I think that they are legitimately a mid-table team for sure.
All right. So if mine is Everton, and you said you might have one, who's your person that we might be putting in? It'd be a real shame.
I'm between two, Wolves and Bournemouth.
Yeah. Like I said, Bournemouth being a darling team right now because they're on a run. Go ahead.
I would lean towards Wolves.
Same.
I don't think they're going to go down, but I think that they're too inconsistent. I think they're always a tough game, but they wait till the end a lot. Injuries, I mean, they're going to get Neto back eventually. I just think how they play is not... I think they're still going to be fighting every game. I think that mentality is always going to be there. So I think they're going to be a little bit like Crystal Palace, obviously better, more well drilled. And I just think the ceiling for Bournemouth is higher right now than it is for Wolves. But I just don't think you're going to get the consistency from Wolves either. So that's why I would think it would be harsh. I think they're the top of it'd be a real shame, but I think for the sake of not putting 7 teams in one category, I would put them there.
I think it'd be really hard to not cash in on Neto in the winter if he's back and healthy and whatnot because of how good he is. I think it'd be kind of weird business not to do that. And therefore it does give them a glaring hole in their like quality on their team. I point to them too, just because like they're usually pretty sound defensively. This season is the one year that I feel like they're not. And then their offense wasn't good at the beginning, but now it is. I just think that, like you said, inconsistent. If I had to strip away jerseys, numbers, players' faces, et cetera, you just got to see how they perform, statistics, whatnot. Is there better talent on Bournemouth than there is on Wolves, in your opinion?
I think there is more. I'm gonna fucking opt out of this question. I think there's more consistent good talent. I don't think there's somebody on Bournemouth that is as good as Neto at his best. I think Lamina is like a really good midfielder. I think Billing is also a very good midfielder. I think that there is not the bottom of Wolves that there is at Bournemouth.
Yeah. I mean, a pretty good example is they Wolves drew Cunha's playing out of his mind right now, but like you got Solanke, you have Cook, you have Tavernier, you have Senesi, all who were on like team of the week this week for the Premier League.
Yes, and Semenyo has been pretty good. Kluivert has been a good signing for them. And then I think that goes into like I love Gary O'Neill. I don't want to take a shot at Gary O'Neill, but I think Iraola is a process or not a process, like a system. System. Jesus, he's a system guy, and I think they figured it out now. Beginning of the season, they didn't, and they're figuring it out. And I think that it just elevates all those players a little bit more. Where I think Wolves sometimes rely on an individual doing something.